I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on vectors. Earlier, we have posted this question on intersection of planes. The question was, consider the following planes. Pi 1 is x minus 5y plus 2z equals to 10. The second plane is x plus 7y plus pz equals to minus 6. And the third one is 8x plus 5y plus z equals to q. The question is, find the value of P and Q so that the plane intersects in a line, right? So basically we need to find the value of P and the value of Q so that the plane intersects in a line. So that was the question, which we actually solved. We found the value of P and Q. And then I had posted a question on this, that is, find the equation of the line of intersection, right? So now there is a request of getting the answer for the extended question also. So that is the reason of this particular video. So let me first go through the previous solution which we had posted. I will actually attach the video at the end so that you can go through the solution in details also if required. So let's have a look at what was posted earlier. This was the question as I just read. Now, the idea is that we'll make an augmented matrix, and then if there is intersection of three planes in a line, that means there are infinite points of intersection, correct? The augmented matrix should be something like this. First row could be any combination of numbers, then we have 0, number, and some other number. But the important thing is that the last row should be all zeros. That is to say that the z value which we are trying to figure out is true for all the values, correct? So all the values means infinite solutions. A line will be the solution, correct? So the idea is when we write this augmented matrix, we got to make them 0, and that should give us the value for P and Q, right? So here is the solution which we perform. So writing the given planes, we have this augmented matrix, applied some row operations, and when you do those operations in the last statement, we get something like this: 0, 0, and this particular thing, and that thing. A variable q is there, right? So equating these parts to zeros as we did here, right? We got the value of P as 6 and the value of Q as 140, correct? That was it. And then I posted the question for you, which was like this: find equation of the line of intersection. Now, that is a very interesting question, and it is not easy calculation also. So, as expected, we got a lot of requests on finding the equation of the line. And that's the reason for my question now. So this is the extended question. Now we know from our earlier calculations that the value of P was found to be equal to, let's write down here, value of P is equal to 4 and the value of Q is equal to, let's see what was it. Uh, P was 6, sorry, and Q is 140. Okay, so it is not 4, but 6 and 140. 6, and this value is 140. Correct? Now, since we need to find the equation of intersection, we also have to copy the augmented matrix. So let's copy the augmented matrix also, which is right here, right? So this particular matrix we need to copy. What I'm trying to say is this particular matrix, correct? And we know these values are 0. So these are the zeros, correct? So we'll just copy this. I made a note of this on a separate paper. From there, I'm going to copy this particular matrix. So what we had shown was that the matrix will be something like this: 1, minus 5, 2, 10, right? And then we had 0, 12, and here we had the value of P, right? So it was P minus 2. Let me write P minus 2. And then we had 0, 0, 0, For p minus 2, it was minus 16, and that was 0. Correct? This was it. Now, since we know that p is 6, we'll substitute the value 6 here, and we'll write this as 1 minus 5, 2, 0, 12, 6 minus 2. Correct? And then this is 0, 0, 0. The values were 10 minus 16 and 0. Correct? So that is what we finally got. Now from here, the idea is that we know that z could be any value, so that is the parameter, correct? So that gives you the value of z. We can say from here that z equals to t, and now from these equations, we'll get the value of x and y. So let's start from a fresh page, the solution of this particular equation. So let me have a page with some more space with us to work with. So we'll begin with the matrix itself. Let me write it down a bit smaller because we need a lot of space to do this calculation, correct? So this is it. We have this as 6 minus 2, right? And this is 10 minus 16, and these values are all 0. Correct. Now, from here, we could write z equals to t, right? So this is what we get, a parameter. Now, from the second equation, let me change the ink for the second equation. We have 12y plus 4z, 12y plus 4z equals to minus 16, correct? So we can write down what is the value of y. So from here, we get 12y equals to minus 16 minus 4t. And so y will be equals to minus 16 by 12 minus 4 by 12 of t. And that is minus, dividing both by 4, we get 4 over 3 minus dividing by 4, 1 over 3t. So we get the value of y, right? Now we can find the value of x also. First equation gives us x minus 5y plus 2z equals to 10. So from here we can say x equals to 5y minus 2z plus 10, which is y value we can write in terms of z, 5 times minus 4 over 3 minus this also, right? 5y, so we have to write both. Let me write this as 5 over 3t, correct? Multiplying both minus 2t because z is t, right? So that is what we get plus 10. So we replaced y with the value which we have written here, minus 4 over 3 and minus 1 over 3t, multiplying by 5, we get 5 over 3t. Then 2z, so we wrote 2t and then plus t. So we need to simplify this. 5 times 4 minus 20 over 3. Here we can take these two common. So we have minus 5t over 3. This we could write minus 6t over 3, multiplying both by 3 plus 10. Okay. So let's add these terms, 10 and 20. So it is minus 20 plus 10. 10 times 3 will be 30. Okay, so 30 over 3. And here the t terms, we have 3 as common. Both are negative, right? So 6 and 5, 11t. So we get 11t here. So basically, the t value will be 30 minus 20 is 10. So we get 10 over 3 minus 11t over 3. Correct? And we know that the value of z is equal to t. Correct? So that gives us the equation of the line. So we can now write down the equation of the line as, let me write down in different ink here. We can say equation of line, which is intersection of three planes, will be r equals to, so the point is, for x, we have 10 over 3, so the point is 10 over 3. For y, it is minus 4 over 3. For z, it is 0 plus t times the slope minus direction cosine, I should say, minus 1 over 11 over 3, minus 11 over 3, x value, minus 1 over 3 for y, and 1 for z. Correct? So that becomes the equation of the line. Perfect. So let me just highlight this. So these are a few steps which you have to add to get the equation of the line, and that completes the solution. Perfect. So I hope now it is absolutely clear. I'll attach the complete video where we worked out the value of P and Q so that it helps. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and the suggestions. I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on vectors. Here is a test question on intersection of planes. The question is, consider the following planes: pi 1, x minus 5y plus 2z equals to 10, pi 2, x plus 7y plus pz equals to minus 6, and the third plane, pi 3, is 8x plus 5y plus z equals to q. Find the value of p and q so that the planes intersect in a line. You can always pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestion. So we need to find the value of p, which is unknown, the value of q. So these two values we need to figure out, and we are given that the planes should intersect in a line. Perfect. So I hope you understand the question itself. Now let's look into the concept on this. So concept is kind of like this. We can have an augmented matrix now. If you have a solution which is intersection of a line, that means when we say intersection of a line, intersection of three planes in a line, that means infinite points, correct? So that means we are looking for a parametric form, right? Of line. So we expect one parameter to get the equation in terms of a line. Now, how will the augmented matrix look like under such conditions? That is what we need to figure out. Now here, the matrix should be something like this, that we'll have some numbers, right? We could actually draw it like this. So when we say augmented matrix, we are actually combining two matrices, right? Two or more, and writing the coefficients. Perfect. So what we are looking for is something where we could have numbers in the first row, some numbers, correct? Of course, we'll try to make this as 0. However, we want the last row to be all zeros. So that is the kind of reduced form of the matrix which we are looking for. So that really means that somehow we have to make all this all zeros, and then we can say that the solution is of a line. So this will have line as a solution. Is that clear to you? Perfect. So let's begin to solve this. You can also pause the video, answer this question, and then check with my solutions. So again, return the equation of the three planes. So let's create our matrix now. So from here we can write down that, writing the coefficients, we have 1, minus 5, 2, 10, correct? Then we have 1, 7, P. P is the coefficient, 6, 8, 5, 1, and Q. Right? So that becomes the augmented matrix. Now, first step should be to get zeros for these two positions, correct? That is what we are interested in. Now, how do we get these zeros? So to get these zeros, we will do R2 minus R1, or we can do R1 minus R2. But since we want P to be positive, we can actually, first let's copy the first row as such, which is 1 minus 5, 2, 10, right? So we're doing nothing to that one. It remains as such. Now here, what we can do here is we can do R2 minus R1. So we'll take away row 1 from row 2. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 5 minus 5 is 12. And we get P minus 2. Minus 6 minus 10 gives us minus 16. Correct? To get 0 here, we can do 8 times the first equation, which is 8 times R1, and then we can take away R3. So that should give us 0 here, right? 8 times. Now 8 times 5 is 40 with a negative sign, so it becomes minus 45. 8 times 2 is 16, minus 1 is 15. 8 times 10 is 80. So we get 80 minus Q. So that's what we get for the third row. So we have successfully written two zeros. Now we want 45 to be 0. So how do we get that part, right? So let me again rewrite. So we have 1 minus 5, 2, and then we have this part, which is 10. We'll copy the second row also as such. No change is required at this stage. We'll write this as 12p minus 2 minus 16. Now here we want 0 at this position. So what can you do? How could you work with these two numbers to get 0? So clearly I have to multiply the first one by 45 over 12, and then we get 0, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that if I multiply this by 45 over 12, in that case, we'll definitely get 45 minus 45, and that will be 0. Perfect. So that's what we are looking for. So we want to actually multiply by 45 over 12. Is that clear to you, right? You could simplify this and then rewrite, since both can be divided by 3, and in that case this could be written as 15 over 4. So that could also work. However, I prefer to write 45 over 12 itself, and then we'll simplify later, right? But there is no harm in simplifying also. So let's write down this step clear. What we're trying to do here is we'll multiply the second row by 45 over 12. So when I do that, then we get 45, and then we are going to add it since we have minus 45 here, correct? So we are going to add this particular thing to R3 to get our result, right? Okay. So if we do this, the first one is already 0, that is 0 minus 0. Now 12 times this, and that is negative 45, will give us 0. So we got that one. However, this becomes slightly more complicated. So we have here 45 over 12 times p minus 2. And from this, we have to take away 15. Clear? This 15. So we get the position. And on this side, we are going to multiply 45 by 16, right? So that is what we're looking into. So we'll do 45 over 12 times minus 16. And from this, we're going to take away 80 minus q. Is that clear to you? Put them in brackets so that you don't do mistake. Correct? So that is what you get as your augmented matrix. Now, clearly, in this particular case, we want what? We want this portion to be 0, right? And we also want that to be 0. And that should give us the values of P and Q. Perfect. So let's try to solve this now. So let's begin with the left side, this portion, which is 45 over 12 times P minus 2 minus 15, we want to make it equal to 0, right? So we can take 15 on this side. So we get P minus 2 equals to 15 times 12 over 45. So that gives you, we can simplify this. 15 goes 3 times and that goes 4 times. So we get 4 here. So with that, the value of P is equal to 4 plus 2, which is 6. So we have one of the answers, and the answer is that P should be equal to 6. Is that clear to you? Now let's do the other side, which is, okay, let's change the ink also. So we have 45 over 12, within brackets is minus 16, and then from this we take away 80 and then we take away Q. Now let's simplify this fourth portion. We will get let me change the ink to, okay, that is good color. So now we can actually divide this by 3. So we get 15 here and we get 3 times 4, and that 4 goes into 16 4 times with a negative number. So what we get here is equal to 60, correct? So with the negative sign, we get minus 60, open the bracket, and that should be equal to 0, right? Minus 80 plus Q equals to 0. So that means minus 140 plus Q equals to 0. And that gives you the answer that Q should be equal to 140. Clear? So that becomes the value of Q. So we got both the answers. We got the value of P and Q in this particular case. So that is how you are actually going to solve this particular question. Now we can write down our answer here, which is P is equal to 6 and Q equals to 140. Now, as an extension to this particular question, what you could do is that you could actually find the equation of the line of intersection, correct? So let me write down the question for you. That is, let me extend it question. Let's extend this and we'll say find equation of the line of intersection. Perfect. So let this be the question for you to work on. Rest of the solution has been provided. I hope that makes sense. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.